Ladies and gentlemen, I'd say that I just finished watching the From Season 4 trailer, but that's not the truth. As a matter of fact, if you guys just saw my most recent video where I interviewed Liz Saunders, I found out about the trailer that day. I watched the trailer that morning of the interview. So just to set the stage a little bit, I had a full series of questions to ask her about From Season 4. I had a full series of questions to ask her that were based around the trailer, or the teaser, itself. And then the trailer dropped that day, so I had to go back to the drawing board and scramble, like right before I had her on to do the interview. So that's the series of events, and I really wanted to talk about the trailer that day, but I just didn't get to do it because I had that going on. So we did get to talk a little bit about it with her on the interview. So if you didn't see that, be sure to check it out. I'm going to link it up here. But I actually wanted to sit back. I wanted to debrief. I wanted to have a little fun talking about this because, guys, I am so excited for it. If you couldn't tell, I'm like I said, I'm like a little shill about this show. It's such a good show. It's such a good show. And the cast is great. It's fun. It's just an all around. There hasn't been anything like this on TV in a long time for me. So I'm excited about it. And I think this trailer even solidified that further in how I'm feeling, because I had this whole idea in my head of where I thought this show was going to go. And then the trailer just completely changed everything. And now I'm like, what the fuck? I'm literally like, what the fuck? Like, not a single thing from what I thought the show was going to be is where this trailer seemed to go. There's fucking dolls exploding out of the house in the village. What is that thing? What is that? What the fuck is that? And literally, I said that to Liz before we went on there. I was like, I saw the trailer. I was like, what the hell what is happening? And I made a short about this too. Anyway, so there's that. The man in yellow is a fucking shapeshifter. Huh? I am so confused, guys. I am so confused. And I know a lot of the general complaints, I guess you could say, about From Season 4, or From in general, not From Season 4, is that they're giving a lot of things to ponder about, but they're not giving a lot of answers. And in this trailer, I kind of felt that way a little bit, because to me, it's like, okay, this is really exciting. We're the man in yellow. We're getting more of him. That's exciting. We're seeing what happens with Julie, who is further becoming a story walker. That's exciting. We're seeing what happens with the man in yellow. Like, we're seeing everything. The point I'm saying is we're seeing all the things develop, but more questions are starting to become become questions because of the trailer. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't explain things. That doesn't mean that it's just going to be more questions. I do definitely think there is something to be said about the show giving more questions, and it being too far, but also in the same vein. And I'm not saying this to defend the show in any way, shape, or form, but there is also something to be said about leaving things open for interpretation. I think as long as you have some of the most critical elements answered, you don't need to answer everything. And actually, I do think that makes a show more fun. I hate the phrase TikTok brain. I hate that sort of idea when people criticize people who don't think critically about a show or anything like that. That being said, I do think the concept that everything needs to be answered is kind of coming from that sort of attention span, if that makes any sense. I'm not trying to put anyone down. That's not at all what I'm trying to do. But I definitely do think there is something to be said about that sort of thing. I think it's okay to leave things open for interpretation. But I think also you should answer the most important things. I think this show is kind of a mix of, obviously we need answers, but also it's more of a situational drama where we're learning things about these characters through the events of this world. So it's like a mix of both. So I think it's okay to leave things a little ambiguous, but I also think you need to answer. Anyway, I went off on a tangent. Too much about that. Back to the trailer. This trailer focused on a lot of things. And again, I hate to keep going back to being like, oh, and I interviewed Liz and this was talked about. But we did mention a really interesting thing, and I think it was solidified well in this trailer. this season is definitely, in a lot of ways, going to be the season where the shit hits the fan, quite literally. Liz explained that as it's going to be like that one bad week where things just keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse and piling up. That's what the season's about. And I think that's going to really come to a head this season for sure. I think we are going to be seeing a lot of things with our main crew. And I'm worried that that means my favorite character, Donna, and the other characters of the show are going to be at risk. And this man in yellow thing, shape-shifting, and he looked like he was shape-shifting into a spider. There's this shot of him going like this, and then what? I have two thoughts, right? I think we are definitely going to be seeing Jim's body this season. 100% we're going to be seeing Tabitha and Jade discover it in the barn. I think that is exactly what the trailer gave us. But then I also have this thought that it's like, maybe that isn't true either. Maybe he comes back, this man in yellow shapeshifts into him again. Like maybe that's possible that he shapeshifts into Jim, and then it's like an imposter Jim. Or maybe something like that has been just going on, and maybe the man in yellow has been hiding in plain sight for a long time, because clearly we are seeing him shapeshift. He's like morphing his body, and clearly we see Jade and we see Victor and all of them discovering this. So it's like, oh, why are these clothes here? Who is this? Victor is there, so it makes me think Victor knows something. And maybe part of the reason he doesn't remember certain things and doesn't want to remember them is because they're scary, because they may have to do with the man in yellow. Victor's been there for a long time. So I'm wondering if maybe Victor has seen some manifestation of this. If he sees the boy in white, I think it's possible that at some point in time he's seen the man in yellow, because why would he have talked about that? Really, we know Victor is the type, whenever he comes across his mental state of like remembering things, he really pauses and freaks out. He did that in season 3 with Sarah. Maybe there's something there to be explored, and maybe when he sees the clothes, he's going to be like, oh, I know this, I've seen this before, and it's going to set him off on a whole thing. But I definitely think there is something there, because we've seen this man in yellow kind of be like a safeguard of sorts for the show. That's what we got. Knowledge comes at a cost. We know that, and we know that's also what they're building towards. He says it in season 3. He writes it on the barn, all of that stuff. But I definitely think there is something to be said about him potentially being a imposter on our crew, and maybe someone in our crew is actually always been on the bad side, because in the end of the day, yes, we know like where Kenny came from. We know where Sarah came from. We know where Donna came from, kind of. We know, you know what I mean? Like, we know where a lot of the characters came from. But like, there is a few out there that are still open for a little bit of interpretation of you know, where they came from and all of that stuff. We know how Donna got here, but we also know how Christy got here, but we don't know which of our characters have seen them arrive, if that makes any sense. So like, part of me thinks maybe it's possible that this man in yellow is an imposter and is taking the form of someone we trust. I think that would be really cool. I think that would be really interesting. I have no qualifications to think that. This is what I'm interpreting from the trailer. Trailers are meant to mislead you, though. That's the whole point. And from a show like this, it's very hard to read. It really is. But the one thing that's even more impossible to read than the man in yellow is, what the flying fuck was that thing in the village? I'm glad they've been teasing at this with when Jade, Christy, and Ken were in the village, in season 3, and they hear walking around and all of that stuff. I'm glad this has been teased and it's not brand new, but for it to be this doll thing that kind of from the trailer looks like a thumb from Spy Kids, I'm not gonna lie, the CGI is a little, it made it look like a thumb, to be honest with you. But the fact that it is this doll looking thing that is where I was like, okay, I've given up. I can't even theorize, and here I am theorizing, but I can't even theorize about what this shit is. What is that? I don't get it. I really don't get it. I'm laughing because of how absurd in honestly a good way, it is. But what is this? Is this thing on their side? Is it not? Clearly it breaks into the village and that has bad intent. But now I'm scared because in that village, if you guys looked closely at the trailer, Tabitha's there. Tabitha's there. Who else is there? Now I lost my train of thought. There's a whole group of people there. The point I'm making is they're all there. And if this thing has malicious intent and it broke in and the talismans didn't save it, then that's really concerning, because that means one or all of them or some of them are going to be fucked this season. And I really, really worry about Donna. And like, look, I really worry about her. There's a ton of characters that I think could go this season. And something just has me, I can't say because I don't want to look like an idiot when the show's done, when the season's done, but I'm definitely worried for her. I'm not going to lie, just that by the way Donna's been portrayed this whole show, she's kind of been this, she has a tough exterior, but is very vulnerable at the same time. And I feel like the show gets people who are like that, if that makes any sense. Even though she's tough, like there's just something there. I'm worried about her. I'd say I'm worried about Kenny, but like, how could they do that to Kenny after his mom and dad? I'm worried about Christy for sure. Actually, I'm really worried about Christy. I think there's definitely potential there, but there's no way that thing goes in there with just like, hi guys, I'm here, like the Kool-Aid man. Like there's no way that happens at all. So I'm definitely a little concerned to see where that's going to go for the story, but all bets are off the table. I have no idea what that means. Could that be Victor's sister in some weird in some weird like version of it? I don't understand. I don't know where this is going to go. Oh my God, this video has just been me ranting about how I don't know. But the things that I do know is we're definitely going to be seeing Julie. We're definitely going to be seeing a lot of her with the story walking, probably Randall as well, and Christy's partner, whose name is escaping me offhand. I think we're definitely going to be seeing that. We're going to be seeing the Onkui stuff go further. We're going to be seeing whatever happens with the aftermath of Jim, clearly. And whatever this man in yellow thing is and this new monster, I think shit is just going to hit the fan. The crows all arrived in the town. Shit's going to hit the fan. And I can't wait. As of today's March 17th, we're almost a month out. We'll be a month out in 2 days. We'll be a month out on Thursday from the show premiering. I can't wait. I really can't. I'm so excited. We are definitely going to be covering it on this channel. I also just discovered that The Boys season 5 is dropping in, I think, 2 days. I think it's dropping on Friday, maybe. I think I will be covering that. I don't want to hold myself too accountable for the schedule of that, to be honest with you, because I've made promises about covering every episode of a show in the past, and I just didn't get to do that. My intention is to cover every episode. But it's just hard for me to guarantee that is exactly how that's going to go. But you will be expecting the boys content on the channel. Definitely expect From content. Expect some more Walking Dead deep dives and things like that going forward. And I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let me know how you feel about this season, where it could go down there. And with all that out of the way, thank you again so much for watching this video. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Peace out.